Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are making these wood triangle table numbers with painted tree lines, perfect for any rustic wedding. Alright, we're out here in my garage. We are going to be working with a 2x6 piece of Douglas fir. This is from Lowe's. You can get it from Home Depot or pretty much any lumber store.
Alright, we got here a 10-inch sliding compound miter saw. Essentially right now it is set at 0 degrees bevel and 0 degrees here. In order to get an equilateral triangle, we'll move that over to 30 degrees, which will leave us with 60 degrees remaining from this 90-degree angle. Then I will line up this corner with my blade. A lot of them will have a laser on here, but I do not, so I just eyeball it. Once I get it into place and I know that it's lined up with the blade, right edge of the blade cutting on my corner, I'll go ahead, secure my clamp down. Make sure it's nice and tight because you don't want this sliding anywhere.
Safety goggles, of course.
Of course, safety goggles. Don't want any wood chips getting in your eye. Basically, I start from outside the piece, get her going, and then I'll slide back through the workpiece. This is just a scrap piece. You can use it for whatever you want. And then in order to get the equilateral triangle that we're wanting, all we'll do is flip this and do the exact same thing again that we just did. So again, line up the corner, point of the triangle with the blade. Clamp it down. Check our alignment one more time, and then we're good to go. And there you have your equilateral triangle.
The full supplies list is in the video description, but we stain these with Minwax Jacobian, and I have tutorials of other stained wood pieces that show me actually staining with the sprayer, and also one with the old rag, which I will link below. We are back on Cricut Design Space. I've actually made a set of these for a client already. That's how I got the idea in the first place. But to make one for yourself, head over to the Images tab, type in trees, and it should be there in the first few rows. If you're having a hard time finding it, just search "winter is in the air" and it should pop up. Go ahead and insert that image to your workspace. You'll see it'll pop up as 2 or 3 different colors. Since I want that to cut all as one, I'm just going to hit the weld button. Once that is welded, your machine will cut that as one. I changed the color to match my original project just to make it easier to size. I want to make the tree line fuller, so I duplicate that 2 or 3 times, but you'll see in a minute I actually did add one more piece. I just start arranging them and even flip a few horizontally, just so it's not so uniform and has more of a spontaneous look. Once you get your pieces in place, select them all and weld them together. Now this is when I realized that I was short one, so all I did was head back over to my Images tab and just entered in the additional one and quickly changed the color and the size of it. I just weld it to connect it to the rest and then drag it over to compare to my original one. So the sizing is going to be about 8 inches long and about 2 inches tall. Now in order to get this box around it, I just head over to my shapes, I enter in a square, unlock that, and drag that out into a rectangle. This piece will protect the wood part that I do not want painted. And there we have it. This will be our stencil, and I'm just going to delete the rest so we can go ahead and cut our project. Duplicate that for as many table numbers that you need. Each 8-inch tree line is going to be 1 table number. So I am making 10. I'm going to be cutting 2 mats of these. I am using Oracal 651, so I will be cutting on the premium outdoor vinyl setting. So I'm going to be using a standard grip mat. It does not matter what color vinyl that you use, since this is just going to serve as a stencil for our paint. I just happened to use green. I just used a piece of vinyl that, or a color that I don't ever really use. It just happened to be the same color as trees, which worked out perfectly, but it does not matter the color whatsoever. I just load it into my Cricut Maker so it can make its cuts. Once that is done, I weed my project, which with this it actually is super easy. I do go in between the trees to pull out some of the bigger chunks of vinyl because there are little pockets that you can see through. We have our stained piece of wood. I usually do find the better side to put the front on, and then that is how I start wrapping the decal around. I don't even use any transfer tape for this. I just pull the decal straight up off of the backing and starting from one edge of it and starting on the front side of it. I place that down and then I slowly start working it around the piece. Since it is one solid piece, the stencil, and since I'm not working with the square piece, I'm basically going to have to flip my piece over and use my X-Acto knife to cut a slit in that. And that just releases some of that there so I can easily manipulate it and move it to its correct piece on that edge. And so I just kind of pull it up and make sure it is in the right spot and just use my finger to adhere that to the wood. I do the same thing to all 4 sides, and don't worry about the excess that is going to be on each corner because we will go back and cut those off before we paint. Just cut off that excess in the corner so it doesn't get in the way of your paint. It should look about something like this. Of course, each one is going to be slightly different. So all I do to make these is 1 layer of acrylic paint, but if you're super particular or having like more of a modern look and you don't want any bleed lines whatsoever, I would definitely suggest doing a layer of polycrylic. I will link that below, and I also have a tutorial of me doing a sign where I used polycrylic on a very large sign, so I did avoid those bleed lines, so I will also link that down below. But for this, I am just kind of roughly adding the paint with just a regular paintbrush. This is a paintbrush made for acrylic paint. but I am just picking up some paint, and it is pretty thick, so all I have to do is one layer with this. And just set that off to the side while I do the rest of them. Just about 5 to 10 minutes later, I don't let the paint completely dry. I start to peel this off. If the paint completely dries, the vinyl can be really hard to peel off, and you'll see some of the tree tops actually did rip, so I have to go back in with some tweezers to peel those up and touch those up. So once these dry, I do add a vinyl decal for the table number. I'm just doing a vinyl decal on these since I do rent these out and use these at different weddings, just so if the next bride wants something else, or maybe like a different font, or maybe not the table number, maybe she wants like a mountaintop name or something, I can easily do that as well. But you guys, if you want, you can make that into stencil and paint it so your entire piece is painted, but that's just how I did it. I really hope that this video helped you guys. If you aren't subscribed already, please do so, and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up.